What's up, everyone? And this is Next Level Thinking. What's up, everyone? It's another episode of Next Level Thinking, where we always bring inspired guests to help you take it to that next level. It's your host, Chris Holmes, as always, but today I have a special guest by the name of
Lowery.
Now, with that, let's go ahead and hit the groundwork. So tell the audience a little bit about yourself.
Well, my name is Lowery. I am originally from St. Louis, Missouri. Now I live in Houston, Texas. H-Town, yes. I moved here in 2011 to go to law school. I attended Thurgood Marshall School of Law.
So she can get you out of jail or put you in?
I'm not putting anybody in jail. Nobody. I'm gonna get you out. I'm not putting anybody in jail.
Okay.
So now I practice law. But I recently just debuted my first fictional novel, Love Diagnosis. So now I'm an attorney and a writer. So
okay,
yeah.
That's a whole full spiel, but we're gonna break it down to a little bit. So what got your interest into law, things like that? Is it just like a childhood dream that came out of nowhere, or kind of took a little bit of time to get into that?
Well, so as a kid, I wanted to be like 10 things. You know, as a kid, you change your mind. Yeah, and then you change your mind forever. So I wanted to be a singer, I wanted to be a writer, I wanted to be a lawyer, a dancer, like everything. So I did always want to be a lawyer as a kid. And when I was in high school, I got the opportunity through the St. Louis internship program to work at a law firm. So from, you have to be like 15 and a half. So from like my sophomore year all the way to my senior year, I worked at a law firm. She's still my mentor now. And so I already knew after I worked for her that I was definitely going to be a lawyer. So
awesome. And so, like, how was Thurgood Marshall and all that?
It was awesome. So I'm a product of 2 HBCUs. So I love going to HBCU. So my undergrad was at Jackson State University in Jackson, Mississippi. I love. And I wanted to go to a HBCU for law school. So of course, couldn't get any better than Thurgood Marshall. And it's in Houston, so it was a win-win.
Okay.
So I absolutely loved it.
So like when it comes to law, like what is like some of the biggest misconceptions you hear a lot of times? Because everybody has social media and all of that. People say this and that, but like what is like I guess the top 3 misconceptions that people say all the time when it comes to law?
Well, I don't know if it's misconceptions. We all know that our system is broken. That's not a misconception. It's definitely broken.
It's really broken.
Especially for brown and black people, it is broken. There may be a misconception about prosecutors. Sometimes prosecutors get a bad rep because they are the ones that send you to jail. But I have a lot of colleagues that are prosecutors that work to get you the best deal possible. So prosecutors do have a bad rep because they are the ones that have to prosecute you. But I do have colleagues that are prosecutors that actually work to try to get you, a minimum sentence as possible, and not actually trying to shove a plea deal down your throat when you didn't do it. So there are some good prosecutors. So I know that's a misconception because they do get a bad rep, but rightfully so, because there are some horrible prosecutors
that will put you in there for the full time.
Yeah, even make you confess you didn't do it. It's just horrible.
And number 2.
Another misconception
well,
about...
you already hit 2 of them, right?
Yeah, I guess that was 2. A misconception about law. I will say that a lot of times people fear, or not fear, but a lot of times people don't want to do like jury duty. It is really imperative that if someone has a jury trial, the law is allowing us as regular citizens to make decisions on people's lives. So when you go to trial, you get to hear mitigating factors, you get to hear all sides, and if you're actually on a jury, then you can decide someone's fate and not let a judge decide or a prosecutor decide. So a lot of people hate doing jury duty because you don't get paid, you have to get time off work, and you're missing money, but it is really beneficial for people to serve on a jury because you can honestly put people in better positions than a judge or a prosecutor. So.
And then the thing about it is like you want to have a jury of your peers.
Exactly.
And it's like, okay, where's my jury at? Oh, they decided not to show up. Yeah. Now you're like,
or you get some jurors that's not of your peers, so they don't
And
understand
now
your
you're like,
circumstances.
now you walk into court and be like, I'm screwed.
Yes, exactly. So definitely, I served on a jury one time, and it was a murder trial, and it was a life or death situation in Missouri. Yes, you serve if you can, because some things that you understand from a defendant, somebody else might not understand, so they can't see his side. So yeah, definitely.
Yeah, there's a lot that goes into that.
Yes.
And much more.
Yes.
So, trying to see. Oh, here's another one I think is going to be really big. I guess help people understand, like, I guess the freedoms and limitations to freedom of speech. Because, that's one of the top ones a lot, especially now, since everybody has access to it.
Yes.
Like, what can you do and what can you not do when it comes to this?
Well, everybody has the constitutional right to freedom of speech. So that is your constitutional right to have freedom of speech. However, freedom of speech does not mean freedom from consequence. So you can say whatever you would like. However, you also need to be aware of your platform, what else you have going on. Like, you can receive consequences from your freedom of speech because you have the right to say whatever you want. No one can take that away from you. However, if you are a representative of a company, if you're a representative of whatever, so freedom of speech does not mean freedom from consequence. That's just period. So although you can say whatever you want to, you cannot expect to not get a consequence from, like, a job or something like that. Like, the government is not going to punish you, of course, but other things that you have going on,
Like associated with.
everything that you're associated with will or could possibly be affected by what you say. So the government can't punish you for what you're saying. That's what it means.
Whatever you affiliated with.
Right.
Can.
But everything that you're affiliated with can provide a consequence.
Which makes a lot of sense, too,
Yeah.
because we always throw out, like, freedom of speech, things like that, and then people wonder why they got fired and all the other
Exactly.
businesses, or from, like, big organizations, or they lose sponsorship. But it makes sense, like, now that you've broken it down like that, because they may have their own different values or the concepts
Absolutely.
or whatever the way they want to market their business, and if you go against, I guess, their vision of whatever that company or organization is, it's like, it's nothing against your views, but for that company or organization, it doesn't really match up. And so at that point, then they can be like, you know what, best of luck, but you're not really, you know.
And a lot of times, let's not give these corporations too much credit. A lot of times it's not their vision, it's their money. So they might share your views, but the majority of their customers might not share your views.
And they're like,
so exactly,
point.
we have to pick the money over you.
We're about to take a hit.
Exactly.
If I don't do anything.
Well, let's not
or
get
our
these
stockholders.
Yes,
So
let's not get these companies.
like, don't hold it to me personally, but for the business,
Exactly.
I'm going to have to let
A lot of them share the same views, but money is way more important than their opinion or yours. So they will let you go because it's hurting their dollars. Point blank, period.
And I think that's pretty much, like, explained a lot right there. And that's why I want to kind of pivot there, especially with your expertise in that, so you kind of elaborate a lot more onto that.
Yeah.
So now a little bit more onto the book, The Offer.
Yeah.
So, like, how did you come up with the name of it? So go ahead and flash it again. Oh.
So it's called Love Diagnosis, and I came up with the name because in the book, there are 3 women that are dealing with issues in each of their relationships. So whatever it is that they're dealing with in their relationship, they're displaying like a symptom of whatever. So one, for example, is a symptom of distrust. One character, she was married before, her husband cheated on her, so they got a divorce.
So that's like a wound that she's carrying to the next person?
Yes. So
He didn't even do anything.
Nothing. He's a perfect man, and she's just messing it up because she's suffering from symptoms of distress. She hasn't learned how to heal from the hurt that her husband. She hasn't learned how to heal, or she didn't even recognize that she needed to heal first. And then she didn't know how to heal from the distress that she was carrying into this new relationship and putting on to this person that had nothing to do with her past whatsoever. So the diagnosis part came from each of the girls. Each of them is displaying a symptom of something that they're suffering from that's affecting them in their current relationship. So, love relationships. So the love part came from the relationship.
Yeah, and trust is like key.
Yes.
You lose trust. I mean, that,
What are you doing? I mean, what are you here for?
so like, what's the other character? You got trust, and what's the other one?
So Shakira's is symptoms of denial. So she's in denial. There are like
I can
blaring.
just hear it right now. Like, you know what? This is why our relationship always goes on.
No.
You're this character right here. Need to read this.
No, I don't want to start any arguments. Don't put that on me. No, I don't want to start any arguments. But she's in denial. There are like blaring signs all around her, but she doesn't believe it because she's been with her fiance for years. They were like college sweethearts. So she didn't want to believe anything bad about him because he's never shown her, you know, a
Like,
bad side.
whatever.
So yeah, so she's in denial.
All right. Trust, denial. What's another one?
The last one is naivety. So the last one, she's very naive when it comes to relationships. She believes that, you know, she can make someone love her, or she can cater to
She can change
a
a man.
Right. She thinks that she can do all this stuff to make somebody love her or be with her when that's not, you know, if you don't want it, you don't want it.
This is the sister where we be like, girl,
Yeah.
this is like the 22nd time.
Yeah.
How many more
Definitely.
sides
That's her,
do you
definitely.
need?
That's her, definitely. So she's very naive when it comes to that, because she believes that if I do all this, if I cook, if I clean, if I, you know, give him sex when he wants to, he'll be mine, even if he already has a girlfriend. So she's very naive. But the good thing is, that each of these women get to a point where they realize that, you know, this is not what I want to do. I'm losing myself. I need to figure it out. So
once you lose yourself, then something need to change immediately.
So that's what happened with all three of them. The situations in their relationships were taking them to places that they should not have gone, and they were turning. Yeah, they did it anyway. But they realized that it was turning them into people they didn't want to be. Yeah. So they did seek help, and they meet up at a relationship counselor.
And they all three together, and they're like, "Hold on, your story."
Yeah.
And now we just have another version of you.
Oh man, no. No.
Hey, little entertainment.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. Kind of reminds me of like with Steve Harvey, like Think Like a Man.
Yeah.
But now you have your own version, but it's not more focused with the lady part and their like their own personal experiences.
Right.
And now you have the girls meeting up together.
Yes, and in a good place. They're meeting up to get help to get over whatever it is that they're dealing with, so that they can be better for the next person.
So basically,
and themselves.
So basically, girls trip, but in the I'm gonna see you like, like,
yeah.
So like, I guess what is alright? I guess I'll put it like this: what is one character you think will grab a lot of people's attention, and why? Go into the audience.
I will say that the one that grabs the most attention from what I've heard already is Kyla, the one that has the symptoms of distress. She's the second story. Her story is actually the longest out of the three, because in her story she's dealing with two relationships. At first she was married, and then her husband cheated, they got a divorce, and she moved on to a new relationship. So her story is the longest, and it's actually the most I enjoy writing her story, actually. More than the other two. I enjoy writing everything, but hers was is very interesting. So Kyla, Symptoms of Distress, I believe is the best character in the book, because of everything that she goes through and the lessons that she learned. And you also learn that it's not just a man that may be messing up. She is the woman in her relationship, and she's actually messing up her relationship because of things that she hasn't fixed about herself. So Kyla, definitely.
So, like, with all of that said, like, what is, like, because I don't want to put out too much stuff on, because I want them to really get dig deep in it. But what is one learning lesson you think they will get from reading that book?
Well, I hope, it was my goal, because I love to write fiction and create creative stories. So my goal is to entertain with my stories, but I also want each of my books to have some type of purpose or to teach a lesson. So I do hope that from this book, someone could realize or think about if they find themselves in a situation where they're doing things that they believe that's outside of themselves, that they kind of evaluate their situation and feel and try to think about, is this the position I want to be in? Is something going on with me? Is something going on with this relationship? Like, if I'm unhappy and I'm allowing things that I shouldn't be allowing, like, what's going on with me? So my hope is somebody, if they are in that situation, can learn from the book and think, okay, maybe I need, even if you don't necessarily seek help from a relationship counselor, you don't have to go to that extreme.
Something from somebody,
right? It can an outside source. It can be a friend that you can talk to, and a lot of times we don't like putting people in our business. Or God, talk to somebody. But just remove yourself from that situation so that you can be better for yourself for the future. You don't want to block your blessings because of you have a fear of being alone or fear of being without that person. We all need healthy, happy relationships. So, yeah.
So with all that said, like, where can they find you and much more?
So you can go to my website. It is www.tjlowery.com. I am actually sending signed paper book copies of Love Diagnosis, so you can order a signed copy from my website. And you can also find me on Facebook under authoress TJ Lowery and Instagram authoress_TJ Lowery.
Awesome.
Yes.
So we're going to go ahead and round it up. We always bring you inspired guests to help you take it to the next level. Closing out, your host, Chris Holmes, and have my special guest by the name of
TJ Lowery.
And we're out. Peace and much love. All right, and that's